bedstand is just like, okay, now I know there's always going to be a lighter somewhere.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah. Okay, so you get it. All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Send Us Flowers. I am very excited to be here today with Matthew Noah, the Cannabis Conjuror, who is a magician.
Yeah.
You do crazy magic tricks.
I do magic, and I love cannabis, and I'm trying to find a way to make it all work together and make my dreams happen, you know?
I think you're doing it. And so today I would love to talk to you about obviously magic, do some magic tricks.
Sure.
I'd love to know what's in your bag because you have like multiple bags going on for audio listeners. And then also I'd love to talk to you about, just like content, and you were super early to TikTok. I feel like what you do is so cool. Like the video you had where you make the joint like reappear and then it's like
from the fire.
Yeah. I was like, what is happening?
And then of course I get like things like, oh, that was a great edit. What a cool transition. And I'm like, no,
it's like,
that's damn.
Dude, isn't that a wonder? Like you really,
it's so tough.
It's magic.
Yeah.
It's not a transition.
It's hard to kind of like tell people that through social media.
And that's so interesting.
And even if you are saying that, who's going to believe you anyway?
Of course. So. Okay. So I always love to start these episodes out by sending flowers. So who are you sending some flowers to today?
I want to send some flowers to everyone who has decided to direct their life into the cannabis industry. Because a lot of people don't realize that as soon as you do that, you kind of cut yourself off from a lot of things and you put a stigma around yourself.
That's very true.
And I know there are a lot of people whose family doesn't approve of what they do, or they laugh at it, or they roll their eyes.
Yeah.
I know if you decide you want to get into the cannabis industry and then veer off somewhere else, there are a lot of opportunities that aren't necessarily there for you anymore because you've associated yourself with cannabis.
Absolutely.
So I think just being in the industry and being loud and proud is something that deserves some flowers.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. I love that. Do a lot of your family know that you smoke weed by any chance?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been kind of throwing it in their faces for a long, long time.
For a while now. Yeah. So they're accepting of it?
Yeah, as much as they can be.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me, what do you do with cannabis and magic?
At this point, I'm trying to kind of frame things where I'm able to take brands and different products and different packaging and try and kind of integrate them into the act,
right? And
replace old classic props with,
so
cool. With these new cool packaging ideas. But it's something new all the time, this one pre-roll package is going to be totally different than this pre-roll package. And how do I sit there and kind of try and figure out what to do with them and where it can be magical and how to relate it,
Yeah, that's so cool. And so how did you start in magic?
So when I was much younger, I loved magic. I mean, I was just a big magic nerd. My dad used to take me to shows. I would go out to Vegas to see Lance Burton and turn on all the magic specials. And I got some magic books and really had no idea what I was doing. As a child, I wanted easy answers, and I would open these books and there would be all sorts. It's like in IKEA manuals.
Okay.
So I didn't really get it. And then when I was about 19 years old, I got into a car accident. I was working luxury retail, selling shirts and ties.
Oh, wow.
And got into a car accident, had a month off of work, pulled out my old magic book and had the time to actually kind of analyze it and start playing with it.
Right.
And once I got bit by that bug, I couldn't really stop myself. So I kind of, ever since that time, I kind of directed my life towards it being magical.
Yeah. So what was the first magic trick you ever did?
The first magic, it was probably just a classic vanishing of a coin.
Okay.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
But the first thing that really made me feel like I knew something. There was a kid in middle school, I think, who did this coin floating trick.
Oh, that sounds sick.
He told me if you want to learn it, you got to pay me $20. And at the time I
had
no money. I had nothing. And I remember going to a restaurant called Nibbler's that was over on Wilshire Boulevard. And they had a magician once a week. And I mentioned to this magician, I really want to learn this trick. Do you know this trick? And I don't have any money. I'm just a kid. And he took me aside and he taught me how to do it. And he told me about how I need to practice.
Yeah.
So, and at that point, practiced as hard as I could until I could get that one trick down.
Right.
And once I did, there was this feeling of accomplishment. And
and you held on to that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Kind of the first thing that led to that extra spark.
Yeah, and you were like, there's something here.
Definitely.
So cool. So when did you start integrating in weed?
I mean, as soon as I felt like I could, I guess. It was about 2009. I had opened up a shop for somebody. There was a shop called the Herbal Center on Robertson and Olympic.
Okay.
And there was some guy that had a ridiculous amount of money, and he was an alcoholic, and he, I guess, knew my father through some networking group. And he said, I want to open up a cannabis dispensary. I got some sort of license.
Yeah.
You apparently know stuff about weed, so help me. So I kind of did everything I could to get that thing opened. And then 2 weeks after it was open, I left because couldn't deal with the mean, abusive alcoholic anymore. But at that time,
go figure.
At that time, I was trying to kind of surround myself with magic, and he was saying, I got this job for you. Let's make this happen. And I thought, oh, what if I could incorporate my magic into the dispensary and maybe have some cool magic tricks behind the counter and provide an experience along with their shopping experience. And so that's kind of when it first went through my mind. There were a few props that were bought, but I was there so short after we actually opened the doors that it never really came to fruition. But that was when I started going like, okay, let's see how I could play around with this a little bit.
Oh, that's quite the journey.
Yeah. And then I started working with Nug, doing product reviews for them. And when they hired me doing that, they were all about like, let's you do magic. Let's incorporate some magic into this. So there was a little bit of that, and it kind of just all came together that way. Yeah. And I love the idea of doing weed and magic stuff.
Absolutely. No, and so you mentioned the stigma around, people who work in cannabis, and I'm curious, is it hard to book things outside of weed as a magician?
I mean, it's hard to book things, period, as a magician.
Yeah.
There are definitely people that will no longer refer me these gigs because they're afraid I'm going to show up smelling like weed or doing something and representing them poorly.
Right.
At this point, I've kind of focused the majority of my efforts into the cannabis industry. And surprisingly, I don't know if you know Wayne Tay. THC Members Only Club. He's behind a lot of he does a bunch of stuff behind the scenes at Secret Sesh.
Of course, yeah.
He's just always running around. Yeah, pretty much he's doing Kush stock. He's doing...
Would you like some, by the way?
I'm okay right now. I'll start rolling something up.
No pressure.
No, that's okay. I actually have some weed in the hat. Well, the hat actually has a little pocket. If you go into the pocket, it's got a little note in there. And that... Check it out.
Check the green lighter.
It's the green lighter over here. And that's where my weed is.
What?
In the green lighter.
That's so dope.
I always know to check the hat to tell me where it is. And then I can use that as my crutch.
That is awesome. And then you have your crutch. That's super dope.
So Wayne Tay.
Yeah.
After I'd worked with him doing Secret Sesh, he called me up saying that he had he was putting together an event for a police department's canine unit. And they're having a gala, and they want a magician. And I thought, well, I'll take this gig. But I thought it was just so bizarre that it was coming from the weed event director.
Right.
But I'll take whatever gig you're sending me.
For sure.
I'd just much rather be able to enjoy cannabis and enjoy the cannabis community during that gig,
No way, dude. Okay, tell me more.
That's pretty much all there was.
How did it go?
It went well. I think it went well.
Did you feel how did you feel? I feel like I would be so stressed.
I was definitely very nervous. It was really bizarre just to have it on this other side where they were all relaxed.
Yeah.
And they were looking at me like I was providing a service for them.
Oh my God.
It was like very Twilight Zone-y for me because I've always been on the like, are they going to find that I'm doing something wrong?
Right.
Even if I feel like I'm doing nothing that's wrong.
Did you bring weed with you?
I had weed in my car.
Yeah.
And I figured if they were hiring Wayne to do the thing, you know, I don't know. I think I was more relaxed about it than I should have been. But yeah, I definitely didn't like toke up in the car right before I walked in.
Well, I was about to say, was the canine unit on the scene?
No, they weren't. They weren't. It was like a gala trying to raise money for them, and they had a whole like, montage of these different dogs that were retiring.
Yeah,
it was nice, but it was also, I know the evils that have the canine unit has been involved in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that is quite the gap there. I don't know. The dissonance would have, yeah.
But then some would say, you work for cops, you don't deserve a place in the cannabis industry. There are people that will say that.
That has been a really contentious topic lately, for sure. And I mean, I'm like, a lot of people are definitely very confused when it comes to that. There are certain companies that, are owned and operated by people who have previously worked in law enforcement, and there's been largely disagreements on whether or not to support them, just for people who are not like in the industry and like are aware of stuff like that. Like those are the things that happen behind the scenes.
Sure. I mean, I really don't. I want to know that these people respect cannabis at this point. I believe that people can change.
Yeah, it's just not something that I personally agree with. And, to each their own. I think that everyone should be informed. And you can make an informed decision. If you want to keep shopping whatever, go for it. Like, you vote with your wallet. Just know that. Is that weed is it can be two different things. It can be recreational and it can be medical.
Mm-hmm.
My personal belief is that anything you put into your body, into your lungs, should be of like it should have a certain level of scrutiny to it. And that goes for any like food, even alcohol, drinks, whatever. There should be a certain level of scrutiny. And so when you have people who produce products that do not live up to that level of scrutiny and give it to people in a medical market, that isn't right to me.
I agree. I think people also need to be cautious of using the word premium.
All of the terminology, craft, like all this stuff, like it's been so bastardized.
Yeah, you don't know what actually means that this is good and what's bad. And then the education isn't out there. And then these companies...
sativa.
Yeah, exactly. It's is it pretty? Oh, this must be great.
Mm-hmm.
Does it smell good? Does it even matter if it smells good to you?
True.
There's such a huge consumer base that's just like, it's all the same. It gets me high, it gets me high. I'm going to cough anyway, so it's always tasted weird.
There's going to be people who go to the McDonald's or Walmart or whatever. And I go and do that sometimes too, but I mostly am looking for things that aren't even like designer of that level. It's just
worthwhile.
It's just a good product. It's just worth your money. It's like something that you're going to feel good, because the thing is, I want to feel good when I smoke weed. I want to be like giggly.
Though, I think
and have a good time.
I think those McDonald's customers know that it's crap food though. Whereas there's so many cannabis customers that don't know it's crap cannabis.
That's true.
And they're just going, $10 is going to get me an eighth. It's going to get me high for a month.
Yeah.
And that's really all that matters.
Mm-hmm. But then it's like, okay, but there could be mold in there.
Sure.
And so these are the other sides of things where it's like, that's not just going to like, whatever McDonald's does to you. I really don't want. I feel bad now for someone's going to be like, I eat McDonald's all the time.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
I'm guilty of eating McDonald's, but I'm aware that it's not the best choice for me when I'm going to eat it.
Yeah, I think that people having knowledge around the products that they put into their body is important, and it should be accessible. And I mean, I've seen you speak up too, and I know you use weed as well for like health things.
For sure. I've got Crohn's disease. I mean, that's when I kind of...
I don't know if you felt comfortable.
I'm comfortable talking about it. I figure it's a fact. there's stuff that I'm too comfortable talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
I had a friend that was like, if you're going on a podcast, don't talk about this. You know that this is not something that you should bring up ever to anyone.
That's so amazing. I need to know all those things now.
Of course.
Wait, okay,
of course. But, let's talk about it.
Those are the best things.
But when I loved cannabis since I was probably 15 years old. Once I started, once it hits your lips kind of thing, I slowly started to fall in love with it. But when I developed the stomach issues, the Crohn's disease is where I kind of found this respect for it and the medicinal properties that it has and how it was actually helping me and how I can use it consciously to help me. Yeah. I'm kind of holding on to that.
No, you're good. It's its own microphone.
But yeah, exactly. So I honestly believe that all cannabis use is medicinal. I look at it more like vitamins than anything else. You could look at it like that coffee in the beginning of the day, but the coffee is just something to help keep you moving. Whereas the cannabis, I think, is actually doing its job. And the people that feel like it's not for them, I think they're probably just not finding the right thing for them.
Absolutely.
Granted, how can you blame them for not wanting to do that deep dive into trying to figure out what the right thing is for them?
It's a lot of experimenting. What is it? I'm sure you've experimented
that's
so
just
much.
Basically all of that. The thing that I found that's been kind of my go-to when I'm
what's in your bag?
Like the raw RA capsules. I think I have like one more in here. These? They're whole flower decarboxylated capsules. So it's an edible that's not distillate. I can pop it open. I can sprinkle it on food. I can take it with a glass of water. They're strain specific, so I can kind of play around with different strains.
That's so interesting.
I was kind of playing around with taking them daily and seeing what that was doing. And, But I came across them at a secret sesh, and I had one of their whatever edible that they were dumping it on top of. And I went home. I had In and Out, and I knew with In and Out I was not expecting a nice morning, and and I was surprisingly like totally healthy. And I called up my brother, and I'm like, "Are you abnormally healthy as well?" Because he also had some of this the raw capsule. He was like, "Oh yeah, I was surprised with the In and Out," So I went back and made sure I got some jars the last time I was there, and I've been kind of playing around with seeing if I can. I don't know. It's because I can't go to my doctor and have them go, you know what? This is the perfect dose of this for you to do this, and this is the right strain for you. I know there are people in the field that are working on that, but it's not so easily accessible.
No, I've never heard of because it looked like just loose flour in the capsule.
That's pretty much all. It's just ground up, decarboxylated, and put in the capsule.
Wow.
And they have them in different strengths. Or whatever.
Have you had RSO before?
I have not played with RSO. I used to play around with concentrates in the syringe. And RSO, it's probably totally worth a try.
That's why I was curious, because I've never heard of it in like a capsule as the leaf itself, like for audio listeners. I always forget too. But so it's literally, instead of like a liquid or anything, it's literally the flour like ground up in a capsule, like a pill.
That's been like activated using whatever temperature it's supposed to be activated at.
Happy plants, happy people. Happy plants.
If you believe in spirits,
absolutely,
and the idea that every living thing has a spirit, you can consider those cannabis plants have a spirit. So this ash here is theoretically the body of that cannabis plant. Just follow along with me.
I'm following. I'm here.
It's a little far-fetched and silly.
Let's do it.
But we could maybe get a little.
Is this one of the things?
Message.
Your friend was like.
No, this is one. Okay. We're gonna try and get a message from the cannabis plants that we have smoked and lost.
Okay.
Right. We've got some ash. Here we got plenty of ash.
Yeah, we've got plenty.
Here, let's see.
No shortage.
Gonna sprinkle a little. Do we have it? Oh, here we go. I don't know if this is showing up at all. It says something there. Can you read that?
What?
Hold on. I'll rub some ash into the other arm. We'll get the other one. Okay, we got something that we got. Thanks for...
Wait.
Toking.
Okay.
Thanks for toking.
So
no problem, spirits of cannabis. Anytime.
He just rubbed ash on his arms and words appeared. It says thanks for toking on both arms.
Yeah. Well, ash tattoos.
Dude. That just blew my mind.
Good.
Thanks, spirits. That was sick. All right. What?
So what else? Let's
crazy.
Talk.
I love that. What else is in your bag?
What else is in my bag? I just started. I know I've loved cannabis for a long time, and I've seen the evolution of the concentrates, and I remember. Hold on.
Oh, here we go. I love the
stickers. Thank you to Luna Stour. Let's send her some flowers, by the way.
She's so wonderful.
She's amazing.
Wow.
And a wonderful advocate for cannabis.
Yes.
I
haven't seen her. I see her like in passing at events and things.
She's everywhere all the time. I was just watching her. She was in like 4 different states and different.
Yeah, she has amazing energy.
I agree. She reminds me of somebody that like I grew up with.
She has sunshine energy.
That's good. That's a good way of explaining it. But yeah, so I got the iSpire rig, and I've always hated the idea of having to carry around the blowtorch and having the piece of glass that's really expensive that I'm bound to knock over, or my friend is bound to knock over. And I have anxiety about all that stuff. And I still have anxiety about this. And the idea of traveling with it was such a hassle. And so I just started playing around with this now that this kind of thing is accessible. So I got this, and it gave me an opportunity to put my stickers everywhere and not do it all over my furniture.
Sick.
Like as an adult, I feel like I can't cover my furniture in stickers again because I did that in my teenage years.
I like celebrating the inner child, though.
Yeah, I do too. But it's like this, I can do that. This, I had a lot of fun. I'm like, let's get out the pile. Let's play with that. You know? Okay, so I got that in my bag. I have my Stash Logics bag over here. We've got the
that's pretty dope.
Zigzag sent me a flour mill. If you've ever seen the flour mill, I know you wanted to check this out. I did want to check that out.
I'm really excited about this.
So it's a toothless grinder.
What does that mean?
It just means it doesn't have the teeth. Like, this grinder has its teeth.
Yeah.
And this, they've got the little bars sticking out. And this, instead of that,
it's just kind of
a screen inside. Here, check it out.
Yeah, but it's like okay, so the top part.
The top, I think, is just meant to like kind of carry your herb across the. Throw a nug in there.
Yeah. Okay. I want it for this one. I'm gonna use a Golden State. Do you like them?
I don't know if I've tried them, or if I have, it was a long time ago.
You can check it out. I think it smells pretty good. So that's their lava flower.
Smells like it's got like a little jack in it or something.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it's
a beautiful nug. It's a big ol' nice nug.
No, right? It's kind of pretty. And so I really like a Golden State. They use mountain, I don't know if I'm going to say this right. They use mountain runoff water from Mount Shasta.
Okay.
With all their plants.
Okay.
And I met some of their team, and they seemed pretty happy. So I was like, all right, I dig it.
You like the herb?
Yeah.
It's great.
And also their weed is
good
fire.
Team. They're nice. The weed's good. All right.
It's
I hate when really, really nice people have really crappy weed. I don't really want to say anything.
Is there like a certain pressure you want to use?
It says even pressure across. Okay. I push down a little bit because I found that makes it go by faster. It's hashed up a little bit on the sides, but you just go back and forth, and you'll eventually feel and hear the change.
Okay.
It's interesting. Is it getting there?
Some ASMR. It's a grinder.
It took me maybe one or two grinds to like.
Yeah, it's
okay. You can give it like more pressure down if you want to.
No, I've got some stuff. Not, maybe a little bit more.
Sure. Yeah. So the idea, it's supposed to pull apart the weed instead of pulverizing it to kind of like maintain the trichomes.
Yeah.
And,
Do you find Yeah.
The grind on the basic one, I think, is better for like a blunts.
Really?
I have
That's
to like run it through maybe a couple of times to get it the right consistency for a joint.
Huh.
But they do have different attachments.
Okay.
You'll
Tell
definitely.
me more.
No, here. Let me grab that.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can.
do see what you mean, though. I do think it like kind of keeps it a bit more intact.
So you'll listen to the difference, but it. Now it's.
Oh yeah, okay.
Gone.
It looks
now
like
it's
it's
just
a little,
riding on it.
yeah.
It's got this weird.
I see. Because it is like a ridge more.
Yeah, it's just kind of carrying it there. So you got to put. It reminds me of those, card grinder thingies that you're just rubbing it across, and it's helping you rub across. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so
that was
all
much. That would have taken me forever. I see what you mean.
It's like heavy, but it needs your extra push. It's got a little. I need to clean it. But
I mean, it looks good.
Yeah, try it out. If you want to roll up something, or I'll roll up something. Or
here, I'll pack a.
I really like it. They send these attachments for different gauges, so you can have a finer grind or a larger grind. And I think I want to get the finer grind attachment.
Okay, I hear you. Interesting. Yeah. All right, any other cool goodies in your bag?
I got some playing cards. I got my Biochem.
What's that?
They do custom filter tips. And they had sent me a little sampler pack of the different sizes. This is a size 12.
Oh, that's cool. It has like a little X in it.
You've got the 12 on the other side.
Oh, dope.
They do like custom logos that you can...
okay. So what would you...
Fidel's has, the F.
Yeah.
So
like
they do
I think
this.
Holy Water has one of those too.
There you go. Biochem's been doing a bunch of that. So I just keep all the goodies. And I got my little Kinder Joy egg fox.
What's that?
The little Kinder Bueno or whatever. They're the little chocolate eggs that has the toy on the one side.
I don't know if I knew that there was a toy in them.
There's definitely a toy.
Okay,
and if you like Ferrero Rocher chocolate stuff,
it's kind of okay.
The little, whatever the candy is like that. But they've got all these different random, sometimes they suck. But this was the first one that I got. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I don't know. For whatever reason, the fox felt like he's going to stay in my rolling bag.
I dig it. I like it. He's like your little smoking buddy.
Yeah. So I got that. I got some playing cards in here. I got the glob mops.
Critical.
I got a dab mat that doubles
oh my God,
as
that's
a card
huge.
rolling. Well, that's the thing. They were like mouse pad.
Oh my God.
But I looked at it and was like, this is perfect for doing card tricks on. So it works as a dab mat. It works to do card tricks on.
That is like larger than a sheet of paper. I mean, that's really convenient and it just rolls up.
It just rolls up.
That was massive. I was not prepared for that.
But yeah, I don't know. Random stuff in the bag.
Okay. Dig it.
Yeah. I can do a card trick for you if you want. Let's see. Let's get a deck of cards.
Yeah, so what do you have coming up next for you?
Right now, I got some stuff in the works for the end of October, but if you keep track of what's going on, what I post in my stories on Instagram.
Okay.
I'm always talking about the next event that I'm going to. I've been, trying to, since I've decided that I wanted to do cannabis and magic and that work the cannabis events industry, I've been trying to study it and figure out how it works and where people find value and how to reframe it in the right way so other people understand how a magician can add value to either their event or their activation, or how you can theoretically hire a magician to do your activation for you. You don't even have to hire your staff or anything like that. But yeah, so trying to figure that out. And so I go to a lot of these events. So if you're ever looking for what cannabis events are coming up next, I'm always posting about it.
Yeah, I like the ones that you've posted.
Sure.
And you always have really good stuff coming up.
I try to give kind of like the coverage of the event afterwards. But yeah, at the end of the month, we've got SoCal Cannabar coming up next week. Secret Sesh is at the end of the month. The iPoppy.
What's that?
That's Samsky.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course.
So it's a concentrate company.
Mm-hmm.
They do rosin. I have some rosin here of theirs.
Yeah, how do you like it? Putting you on the spot.
I'm really enjoying it. Granted, though, like my experience with concentrates is lacking.
What do you prefer, concentrates or flower?
Flower. It's always going to be rolling a joint and smoking it that way. I stopped smoking out of glass a long time ago. I mean, occasionally I'll take a bong rip.
Why is that? If you don't mind me asking.
I don't know. There's something about I mean, if there's nothing else to smoke out of, I'll definitely smoke out of the glass. But there was just the maintenance of having to clean the glass.
Yeah, it is
and there was the anxiety that I had of it like breaking. And I want nice glass, but if I'm going to break it, then why get nice glass?
Mm-hmm.
And, if I got nice glass, I'd want to put it under glass and not touch it.
Right.
And I also like that just tactile feel of rolling a joint and analyzing the buds you just ground up and kind of like that ritual of the joint rolling.
It's absolutely a ritual.
And then you've got your different tools of the trade. It's like tinkering with magic tricks, kind of. But yeah, if you want to check out the iPoppy.
Weed is absolutely magical in and of itself.
That's what I figured. There's so many people that don't get it. And I'm like, listen, weed is magic. It just is.
Yeah.
We all know it. If you have a relationship with cannabis, you know that it's magical.
Oh, it smells good. It looks good too.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been storing it properly. I know you got to keep it in a fridge but see, all of that extra is tough for me.
There is a lot of maintenance. Like I went to PuffCon on Saturday.
How was that? I don't have a PuffCon.
Otherwise
I would have gone.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. I thought it was actually a pretty well done event, minus like a few, things here and there. Yeah. But like, I really loved the vendor. I got this shirt there.
I know. I was seeing that. I love that.
It's so cool. Like the vendors were really cool artists. And I don't know. Sometimes the vendors can be a little generic at things. I'm not going to lie. And sorry, I wanted to pass it along.
No worries.
But yeah, so I thought the vendors were really cool. I thought the options there were really cool. The music was good. It was a good setup for the most part, like easy flow. There were some things that were like, at least to me, a stoned person, were like hidden. I'm sure to a not stoned person.
There are so many events that I go to and I get home and I look at other people's coverage of it. And I'm like, where was that?
Oh my God.
How was that? How did I miss that? I wandered around that place for 4 hours.
Yes. No, here's the thing. I have worked in weed for so long. High people are so powerful and like productive and can do anything for sure. I work in smoke, but at a certain point you get too high. You get extremely high, and you definitely need like an easy flow and space to navigate.
Places to sit, water stations.
Water, critical.
I agree.
Critical. What are some of your, like, if you could have the perfect weed event, what would that be like for you?
I definitely think that there should be maps. If you're going to have a big event with a bunch of different things going on in different places, to have just some sort of map I can have at the beginning.
To be fair.
Were you able to read it properly, or was it just vague? Because a lot of maps that I come across are very vague.
It had some stuff on it. I don't know if there was ever a more detailed map released. It was like,
I mean, the fact that there was a map is great.
It was like 60% of the way there of the one that I saw.
Sure.
But there could have been like...
Yeah, you're just talking about the dream event, though, We're talking about the dream event.
Exactly. No,
for any event to have a map of like what we're about to see and what's going on and the different vendors that are there. Fantastic.
There was a lineup and it was pretty on schedule.
Awesome.
I was genuinely shocked. I was like, no fucking way. Dope. Good work, everyone. Because that is hard. It's hard to have. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. I really don't mean to sound any type of way. I feel like some people might be like, okay, it's really hard to have an event with weed in general.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I mean, and I'm still curious about the legalities behind things. I know that they have to partner with a dispensary partner that's handling the transactions and. Things still are different than what I would think it is when at the events themselves. So I'm still kind of confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard. And then you have all these different vendors that show up at different times.
Yeah.
They're always running late.
Oh my God,
a lot of them are. There are a lot of people that are on point. Don't get me wrong.
They're late. A lot of there's a lot of turnover at different weed companies. And so a lot of people just could use maybe more like training at the booths.
I mean, at these booths, I think the vendor booths are an awesome opportunity to get at the heart of the cannabis community.
Oh my God, absolutely.
All of these people that are going to the events, no matter if they're in the industry or not, they are weed lovers. And they're the person that their cousin calls when they're in town to say, well, what should I buy? Where should I go?
Exactly.
They're the person that, that everybody knows is the big stoner and loves weed.
Totally. No, I mean, it's so hard to do things like online. Like people do it and make it work, but like it takes a lot to do that.
Sure.
And maintain it. And so like in person, especially with something like weed, when it's so tactile, it's something you smell, it's something you look at. Like you want to know who, or at least some people want to know like who's behind that. Like that's why they go there. I think that experience and fostering something that's like very, community oriented and like not entirely transactional.
Sure. Yeah, just something where you can experience who that brand is, where they're coming from, what their product is, how do they differentiate themselves from everybody else? Because there was a time that there were only a few different brands in the legal shops. In the very beginning, it was hard to have a selection.
Absolutely.
But now there are so many choices. So when I go to one of these events, why is your cannabis different from your cannabis and your Because a lot of you guys are growing the same strains and offering the same things. And
yeah, absolutely. What do you look for when you're looking for like great weed to you?
I mean, great weed to me smokes cleanly. It's, not a harsh hit. It tastes good. It smells good when you're looking. And I mean, granted, that's not necessarily part of the smoking itself.
Of course.
But just when I'm looking for good bud, I want it to be able to see the bud structure. I don't want it to be too tight and sound like rocks in the jars.
Yeah.
Unless I know that that's a genetic trait. But still, that's a hassle to deal with. And I generally like when it burns a white ash. I know there's a lot of controversy over white ash and if that's important. Is that
real? Yeah, I could. That ash is
it seems to be burning pretty white.
It's like fairly, yeah, I would say so.
When I was working with Nug, they had me and Ian Randall. Do you know Ian Randall?
Mm-mm.
Great guy.
Okay.
Really knowledgeable, especially about concentrates, and they wanted us to come up with a rating system for they called us up and they said, hey, can you guys write 2 reviews a day for the next 2 months possibly? And I'm thinking like, you want me to take 2 edibles in the same day and then review those properly and tell you one's good? But either way, so when I'm looking for cannabis, we kind of came to the conclusion that we were going on the white ash rating. What was the consistency? Was it too moist? Was it too dry?
Interesting.
What was the consistency of the brand? How often they came through? If you bought it one time, was it the same as the next time you bought it?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm also just curious. There may be pot that I love, and I see these brands at an event and I just want to know how it was grown. Are you using soil? Are you using hydroponics? Are you using like cocoa coir or however you pronounce that?
I don't know.
Being grown outdoors? Is it? I mean, at this point, you can kind of see with your. I'm sure you can look at outdoor and indoor and see the difference.
I'm definitely learning still to differentiate, but I can look at and I'm like.
And then once you have greenhouse, it makes it a little tougher. Yeah. And then depending on how it was manicured.
say I tried Josh Wax.
Okay.
And have you had it before?
I don't think so.
It's living soil.
Okay.
And it's really good. I was very impressed. But you can tell it's different.
I think that, I don't know if they're using living soil outdoor or indoor there, because now people are using it indoor. Yeah, that's a new thing. Yeah. Because you can't maximize your growth with the living soil. Hydroponic will theoretically give you a lot more, I believe. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I may be.
Yeah, but, I don't know.
But like you can get a lot more in there, and you know, but you get this higher quality. Yeah. When you're using living soil, you're getting a higher terpene content. A lot of people say outdoor sucks totally. And I think bad outdoor is really shitty. Yeah. And I think the best outdoor is usually better than the best indoor.
Interesting.
I think that if you do outdoor well,
that's the best.
It's going to express the best terpene profile, and it's going to be that. I mean, it's like nature. It's what it's got its power from the sun, and it like was grown using the way the soil's supposed to operate. Right. And it's like, what is there for it? We found a way to hack it when we needed to hide indoors. Yeah. And then found like, this is actually pretty good, and we could do some stuff with it. And don't get me wrong, I love me some good indoor cannabis. And I hate bad outdoor. But
absolutely. That's actually a really interesting thought of weed only had to be grown inside because it had to be hidden.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we figured it out, I guess. I think.
I feel like that makes sense. Wouldn't you normally grow it outside?
I mean, you normally grow it outside in your backyard. Yeah. Love with your tomatoes.
Like I was about to say, like a tomato.
You would learn what it needs and what it doesn't need and how to feed it.
That is so, I mean, it's obvious, but like saying it like that.
Yeah, I mean, it should theoretically, you should have grown up with it in your grandma's garden, you know? I definitely didn't.
Definitely not.
My grandma would, definitely not understand, I don't think, the cannabis thing.
My grandma uses CBD, but for the most part, it's, we would have, but like never growing up would that have been in the garden. Sure. For sure, no.
I mean, I think when I started using cannabis, I immediately wanted to be loud and proud about it. Yeah. I think it was probably after the first time I got caught using weed. And then I was like, now that you know, this is what I do. Yeah. I'm going to get the shirts from Venice Beach. Yeah. And I'm going to grow my hair out long. And I'm going to listen to Grateful Dead. And this is what we do now.
This is what we do. This is now me. This is my entire personality.
And then when I realized that I needed to get a job and be taken seriously, I kind of toned that down. Yeah. And then eventually went, fuck this. I want to work in the cannabis industry and be loud and proud and tell everybody and not have to hide this.
But also now you post it on the internet to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
So that's like the loudest and proudest you could possibly be. And you have figured out how to still get stuff you get stuff on TikTok.
So TikTok, it's been very recent that I was playing with that. I took a good couple of years off of TikTok. I was on it consistently for a while.
Yeah, you were like, you were on it. Right. I mean, even before it was
so there was the pandemic had started. Yeah. It was a little bit into that. And there was somebody that had some connection to some opportunity to create content for TikTok. And so I got this TikTok partnership thing because they wanted educational content on the app. So I started off with like, okay, you have these crazy, I can't give cannabis education. No. I have to find a way around this, especially because I have this connection with them. Yeah. And I started making magic education stuff. And I started playing around with that. Occasionally in my videos, I'd bring out a deck of cards that have a pot leaf on it. Or I'd play... And it just got exhausting trying to hide that. Because this is not what I mean, I love magic and I love magic education. Yeah. But I also love cannabis. And this is a place where I want to be authentic.
Of course.
And if I can't be authentic, then do I want it? You know what I mean? I'm good on that. And so I kind of took a little break from TikTok for a little while. And then I came back trying a little bit. On the opening party for the Studio Lounge, the Artistry, I caught a moment that there was nothing going on. Nobody was smoking. I was able to do a panoramic shot. And, I didn't say cannabis on it. I just said, I did something like a broccoli emoji or something along those lines. And it started popping off. And as soon as it hit something like 12K, they took it down. And so I appealed it, of course. Yeah. And then I, because I do have certain email addresses, I emailed the tech support people first and nobody got back to me. And then I wrote an email to my... And eventually they came back saying like, oh, we've reviewed it and it's fine. And they put that one back up.
Wow.
But it was after, all the views were dead
at that point, it's not going to do anything.
And I think at this point, the music that was used was taken down.
Yeah, that always happens now too.
So that was kind of dead. And then I was starting to think like it would be a good challenge and valuable to people for me to learn how to kind of work my way around the terms and conditions.
Yeah. It's a challenge.
So that video that you saw of me making the joint appear with the fire, I had to put in a disclaimer throughout the entire video. I made sure to say something like, this is just, chopped spinach rolled up in a rice paper
magic.
With a noodle.
Yeah.
There's no reason that anybody should have a problem with this. It's the perfect bite, so something along those lines.
Yeah, I love
that. So
it's
like, how do you do? But then again, I posted something of the last iPoppy event. That's on my Instagram profile. Instagram's fine with it, apparently.
Yeah.
TikTok, I made sure to block out any imagery that Instagram was fine with, theoretically. Allegedly. And I posted it on TikTok, and that got taken down immediately. And then the appeal came back to me 5 minutes later saying, no. It's like, there's nothing going on here. I blocked out what you're seeing. It's just... So I'm trying to figure it out. There's some stuff... That's still in the works. But the majority of my TikTok stuff, my life on TikTok has been... not cannabis centric.
Yeah, it's challenging.
And my Instagram took a back door because I was working on that other stuff. And I felt like, well, this is what I want to be doing. So if it's not going to work here, do I want it?
Yeah.
So it's all still a puzzle that I'm trying to put together.
Oh, I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, me too.
And I feel like that really grabbed my attention. And I think... it is kind of this compromise and it sucks, but if we can compromise, at least for a little bit.
I mean, I do believe that we are, at least me, I'm my most creative when I have a box that I need to work within. There's that whole think outside of the box. You have anything that you can do.
Yeah.
But once you've given me rules and
there's
the
constraints
tools that I have to work with, now I can really start going how do I... how can I work this way? And it is a fun exercise, but it's also really frustrating.
Oh my God, it's so fucking frustrating. My TikTok is down. It's totally deleted. So
you Send Us Flowers back up though?
I do have that one, but it's just I've been really trying to figure out what to post on it. And it makes sense.
Sure.
Because there's still I want to be a I love working on being a storyteller. And it's very hard to tell a story when you can't tell the story. You've got to bleep everything.
I was thinking it'd be cool to start making some content that was blatantly just bleeped out everywhere.
Yeah, that would be really funny.
And just kind of
down on it.
Yeah, here's an example of how ridiculous this is.
For sure. I would that would be hysterical. Totally do that.
It's just trying to find, but then I have a relationship with TikTok. Do I really want to spoil my relationship? And that's the thing. Too. It's I'm letting them, they know that this is what I want to do, but how far do I want to push it?
You're going to have to figure out how to balance that.
Who knows?
I'm curious to see how that goes. We'll bring you back for a part 2. We'll catch up and see how that goes. All right. Where on TikTok and all these places can they find you?
TikTok, you can find me at Matthew Noah. On Instagram, you can find me at The Cannabis Conjuror. Conjuror. Yeah, I think. T-H.
Don't ask
whatever.
me.
The cannabis, put image here or something.
Yeah,
you know?
it'll go.
I'm also Matthew Noah as well on the Instagram, and that'll link you there. But you have to write in the whole thing to give you that. Because Instagram does that with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They like to do that. All right, cool. Anything else you want to share with the good people before we dip out?
I love you all.
Well, you heard that here first. All right. Thank you so much for coming on Send Us Flowers.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'm sending you all flowers, and subscribe, Spotify, YouTube, Apple, all the places in which you can
get everywhere.
All the places. So go follow, like, subscribe, comment, share.
Even on TikTok.
If
you
can. And I'll see you next week.
Peace.